I'm trying to think, to be fair. I don't think I've ever, like, travelled for love. Like...
Because it always just in the vicinity.
No, I don't really fall in love like that. So I haven't...
But why not?
Because I don't want to.
Why don't you want to be in love?
Because I want to focus on myself and my career and get money for myself.
Makes sense.
You know, when you make all this money, then what? How long are you going to do this for?
I don't know, but I feel like I'll be hot enough to be able to get myself a toy boy if I need to.
You want a toy boy?
I don't want one, but if I need one, I think
you're going to need one because that's your plan, innit? You want to get money, innit?
If I need one, I can get one, yeah.
You seem like the type, like, guys pretty much like kind of...
And then they get into this whole thing about how she's desirable and she has her pick of the litter. This is really interesting to me and a big change that's happened since I was younger. When I was younger, girls grew up wanting love. I can remember being a kid and a friend of mine, I was in middle school, no joke, middle school, and a friend of mine had a little blackboard that the family would keep in the kitchen, and it had little chalk and you would write something, and I would write little love quotes on it. I'm not kidding. I always loved the idea of being in love. I loved romantic movies. I loved that whole thing. And women grew up with a feminine softness to them where they looked so much forward to that in life, more than we looked forward to career, more than we look forward to this independent journey where I don't need a man. We didn't want that. We didn't want any of that. We wanted, the storybook. We wanted the Notebook. We wanted the Titanic story, all of that stuff. The guy that you fall in love with, the romance. And that's a beautiful thing about women. The fact that we listen to romantic music and all of that stuff. Guys may not be wired the same way, and in most cases they're not, but they love that women are wired that way because that softness makes us incredibly desirable to men and means that when we fall in love with you, man, what a beautiful thing to be loved by a woman. Guys, I got to tell you, I'm with Andrew Tate on this when he talks about what a beautiful, powerful thing it is to be loved by a woman. And that's lost now. Now you have women that not only aren't looking for love, but they are intentionally avoiding it. They are intentionally avoiding that union. They are intentionally saying, I am going to focus on my career and myself, and I don't want love. I am intentionally saying, do not come at me. And what does that look like in behavior? That looks like them sleeping with a bunch of guys that don't mean anything or spending their time with guys they know they're not going to fall in love with, wasting time essentially, because they're so afraid that falling in love with a man will cause them to give up some of what they've been told is good for their life, that selfishness, that career. They're so afraid of leaning on a man because they've been told that's dangerous. They're so afraid of a union that might actually make a phrase like "you complete me" be real to them. They're so terrified of that because they've been programmed. And in turn, they've lost what makes them beautiful. That's why you see guys today talking about these hardened women. And I hear it all the time. Women are like hard. I don't want a hard woman. In the same way, do you want a woman with a washboard, six-pack, stomach? No, most guys don't want that. They want a softness. I always joke that I put a video up on Instagram this morning saying that, a lot of things that women hate about our bodies or complain about are things that men love. I always had like a little bit more meat on the bottom, let's just say that. And I just definitely, and I have these little, I can't show, maybe I can show you, but I'm going to do something weird now. But you see all this little like stuff? You see that stuff on the side? I always had padding around the hip area. And it's funny, when I met my husband, he was doing a bodybuilding competition. He was tight. I mean, he looks fantastic now. But he was in a competition. So it was like he was ripped. And I remember thinking like, oh my God, I'm going to be with this guy. And he's going to be like feeling all the squeezies and like, is that going to bother him? Because I was, I really wasn't in the right head of really understanding men like different things. And I remember him saying, I love that part of your body. Like, that's what I'm drawn to because there's a soft and supple feminine component of that layer of a little bit of fat that you got around the hip area. Guys know it. Guys, if you touch a woman's body, it feels like a man's body, you're going to be like, You want a little bit of, you know what I'm saying? So it is what it is. Anyway, what was I even talking about? I mean, sometimes I just completely lose it. Regardless, these women have lost their essence and they've lost what makes women so unique and so valuable and so special. Imagine saying, I am going to avoid love. I am purposely going to create a life where I'm going to have a boy toy. What are you going to do with a boy toy, honey? Pay for his stuff? Honestly, You're going to have a boy to come in and have some, what are you going to be, 40 years old? Let's say you follow this career path, you make a lot of money and you're 40 years old. Fast forward. I don't know how old she is, maybe 25. I don't know. Say you're 40 years old and you've made a lot of money and you know what you're going to be? Lonely, 1. 2, what are you going to have a boy toy roll in for a night? You're going to have ungratifying sex without emotion. Great, yay. He's going to be out of there in 2 seconds, right? And what? He's not going to provide for you. He's not going to protect you. He's not going to do any of that. You're going to be paying his way. Maybe you can take your boy toy out for lunch and then he can go home with you and you can have some meaningless sex. And then what? Bury your head in your career and somehow pretend you're happy? That's what I'm trying to prevent young women from doing. There's no happiness in that. And, people always say to me, well, Jed, you married late. I did. And a lot of that has to do with me living in New York. But I wasn't doing 304 stuff. And I wasn't actively saying, I don't want to find love. That was not what I was doing. Was I in the wrong place? Yeah. Should I have maybe moved to a small town? Yeah, I would have changed things. Then I wouldn't have wound up with this amazing man I have right now. So no regrets for me in that respect. Regrets in other areas for sure. But bottom line is, there was never a part of me that turned off my feminine side on purpose. I can't relate to it. Turning off your feminine side on purpose. I should do a whole thing, by the way. I did this early on, but there weren't enough people on the channel at that point talking about this and why it's different. I think I might have had the conversation on air with Rolo. I have to look back, but people were saying, but you married late. Yes, that's why I'm doing this. That's why I'm talking to you young women. I'm trying to tell you there are things that I did that worked out for me, but it doesn't work out for a lot of women, and here's why. There's so much that I internalized that I wish I hadn't. That's why I'm doing this. Learn from the things that I did that I would do differently. Learn from them. That's who teaches. You know how sometimes you have people make mistakes in life and they're the best people to explain to you hey, listen, it may not work out well for you and here's why. Here's a better path. That's why I'm doing this. Okay, let's get to the crazies. Let's get to number 7.
I just think it's funny because, if you're going to a country that has more traditional sort of values, I feel like my thing is that if I was to get into a relationship, potentially the reason why I haven't is because I don't think people are very traditional. So
that's why you're not in a relationship right now.
Because I don't.
Are you traditional?
I am. And
Stop
I think
it.
It's
Okay,
slowly leaving me.
Stop the madness. Has she been sounding like a traditional woman to you for the last 10 minutes that we've been talking, 15 minutes? She's not traditional. She's deluded. She thinks she's a traditional woman. So she thinks it's traditional somehow to say, I don't want love. I want to focus on myself and my career. I'm going to get a boy toy. That's traditional. It's traditional to say sexual freedom is, fantastic sexual liberation and having a bunch of partners. It's traditional to say that it's oppressive to be in the kitchen or that it's oppressive to sign up for sex for the rest of your life with one man. On what planet, honey, are you traditional? In your own warped mind? And now she's saying she wants a traditional man. Good luck, honey. Because a traditional man's not going to want you. A traditional man's going to want a traditional woman. And a traditional woman doesn't say all this garbage that you just spewed out. The disconnect is wild. Can you imagine this woman sitting and saying she's traditional? And this is the thing. There's a complete lack of self-awareness in a lot of young women. They just don't even see that what they ultimately want. She's telling you in a moment of truth that what she actually wants is a traditional man. That's what she really wants. And she's also telling you that she can't help but live her entire next decade in a way that's going to repel that guy because she can't undo the programming. Wild. Isn't it wild to see that disconnect? Get in the chat. Let me know. Do you see what I see? If you like the short clip and want to watch another short clip, click here. Or if you want to watch the full episode, click right here.